Hello, Jimmy Armijo Grover here with Gallatin River Guides, and today we'll be tying the Pheasant Tail emerger. This is kind of a guide pattern, is what I call it. It's a simplified version of the Pheasant Tail that also includes a white wing, which we have found to be a great addition to a lot of our most popular flies. We're going to start off with our thread behind the bead of the hook and then wrapping down the shank to the point where there would normally be a hook barb. This is a barbless hook, so that doesn't exist on this particular pattern. I've picked out a few fibers of pheasant tail, about 5 or 6, and size those to about half the length of the shank, maybe a little bit longer. And I wrap those with, or tie those in with about 2 or 3 wraps of thread in place. And then in front of that, I'm going to tie in some small copper wire. Notice how I moved the butt ends of the pheasant tail out of the way when I tied those in, so I didn't wrap those down, because as you can see, we're going to use those for wrapping the body. And you can take those all the way to the bead and tie those in. Maybe use a couple more wraps than I did, because you'll see later that my fiber started to unravel a little bit. It was all covered up with the thorax, so no harm, no foul, but you could eliminate some frustration for yourself. Then we're going to counter wrap the copper wire to add strength to that weak and brittle pheasant tail material. Wrap that all the way up to the bead and then secure that with a few good wraps. And then we're going to take our wing material, which can be an antron, Zelon, some sort of material that will add some flash underwater. And as you can see, I tie in the material and then double it over. This decreases the odds of that wing material being pulled out at any point while you're fishing the fly. Then I want to fill up the gap behind the bead with thread. That's why I make several wraps of thread right behind the bead. That way when we tie off or wrap in the Peacock Herl, we're not losing a bunch of material under the bead. Trimming off your wing is a lot more challenging when there's a camera right in front of you, so that's why you see me fumbling around there. As you see, I'm tying in only a single strand of Peacock Herl. This is a relatively small fly, and I find that you have a better overall look if you use a single strand of Peacock Herl. Just do a few wraps of that, tie it off. Peacock Herl is very brittle. I didn't do anything to strengthen that Peacock Herl with thread, but what you can do is add a good penetrating head cement at this point, either a UV curing cement or a thin head cement that'll hold that Peacock Herl onto the hook better. And that's it. It's a great fly, relatively easy to tie, and a very productive pattern for southwest Montana.